On May 14th, 2026, Jessica Nell passed away after a long, brave battle against multiple health complications. Jessica was a cherished member of the Wisconsin and Midwest power soccer families. Twin sister to Ryan and lifelong friend of Bill, Jessica only played one season with Wisconsin Warriors, but was known throughout the power soccer and disability communities as a trusted friend and fierce advocate. She will be greatly missed.
3 in the Box is not affiliated with USPSA or its board of directors. Bill, Josh, and Nikki make this podcast. Our views are our own, and the views expressed by our guests are their own. Nothing said on this podcast is intended to represent the views of any organization unless expressly stated.
This is a Facade podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to 3 in the Box podcast, powered by Power Soccer Shop. I'm Bill.
I'm Josh.
I'm Nikki, and this is 3 in the Box.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to 3 in the Box, powered by Power Soccer Shop. I am Bill Schultz, here with my bestest pals in the whole wide world, Josh Berger and Nikki Dwyer. Josh and Nikki, how are we doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on our show.
Thanks for having you on our show. Like you haven't been here since day one. What are you talking about?
Sometimes I miss a couple episodes, be busy working, be getting clear and all that stuff,
So you're telling the world you're bad at your job is what you're saying.
I am bad at my
have
job.
Other priorities.
That's why we hired Nikki on the show.
To cover for you? Is that
to cover
why
my
we did it? I don't remember that being the rationale.
You weren't there for that meeting, that's why.
Oh, okay. Oh my God. It's weird. This is like weird vibes today. Like we're recording at like a weird time of day that we don't usually do this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like kind of the last big, it's the last big episode cycle of this season. I don't know.
Yep.
I got weird 3 in the Box vibes today.
We're recording in daylight for one.
We are.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Nikki doesn't like it when I talk about like time of day or day of the week, but it's daylight outside, and that's weird for me.
Yeah. And it's a Wednesday too. We don't.
And it's a Wednesday.
Yeah,
this comes out tomorrow. Like that isn't usually.
Yeah.
Okay.
The people want what they want.
Well, and really the reason that we're recording at 3 p.m. on a Wednesday is because there's been a lot of news this last week, and I kind of encourage the both of you to let me like push this back a lot because we've had a lot of things that are kind of like down to the wire. So today is the start of end of season power rankings, which we're super excited about. Everybody's excited. I know Nikki mentioned earlier today, somebody was asking her about it. I got questions yesterday like, hey, when are rankings coming out? Josh, too.
Yep, big times.
So we promise today's episode is mostly about that, and we will have another episode coming out next week, which is the back half. Excuse me. We're going to tell you about founders and presidents rankings today. And then a week from today, we'll have our champions and premier rankings for you. But before we get to that, I just want to close the loop on this whole competition restructure thing. I think this is probably the last time. I hope this is the last time that we'll be covering competition restructure on the podcast. But last Friday, the league came out with their recommendations for the AGM, for the annual general meeting. And Nikki just made me big on the screen because this is one of those times where Bill's going to talk a bunch.
Bill's got the mic.
Look out.
Look out, everybody.
Cut me off. So there's two things that the league is proposing at the AGM I want to focus on. There's other things going on with the budget, and there's other things going on with elections that we'll talk more about elections in a future episode, but these are kind of the two things I wanted to hit on today. Nikki, Josh, and I have talked a lot about this competition restructure proposal. We did a full episode where we had Ryan Nell come on, and we told you just kind of without going too far into what we like and what we don't, we told you as much as we could about it, right?
Yeah.
And then most of you, I think, went to these town halls and you heard from George and you heard from Nathan. What about this proposal, they want to adopt and why they want this for the league? Then we came back, Josh and Nikki, after those town halls, and we got into kind of the bits that we don't like so much about it. And we heard a lot of agreement from across the country, from soccer players that are apprehensive about instituting this policy, and we're apprehensive too in a lot of ways. So tonight, I just want to close the loop. I want to make sure that everybody understands 3 in the Box as a production, and especially our sponsor, Power Soccer Shop, is not going to tell you how you should vote or how you should encourage your teams to vote on this issue, right? And I want to remind people, you do have a vote here, right? Like every team has a team rep. And if your team rep hasn't come to you and said, hey, this is how I'm going to vote on XYZ, have a conversation with them, reach out to them, because this is happening in June. I wish I had written the exact date down, and I don't have it.
It's the first week of June?
June 14th.
June 14th.
Sorry, second week. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the meeting is on June 14th. We'll be expected to vote on all this stuff on that day. Your team has a vote. When you pay registration fees to the league, your team automatically gets a vote. So if you don't know who your rep is, ask around, find out, have a conversation with them, what they're thinking. That said, today I want to kind of close the loop. 3 in the Box, Power Soccer Shop, absolutely not here to tell you how to vote. But Nikki, Josh, and I have been involved in this process since day one. In fact, we had some of this information beforehand, because one of the really cool things about having a podcast is they ask us for feedback. And so we had a lot of this information before it came out. We were given kind of a front row seat. I was at all of those town halls. I was talking to George through a lot of that and getting some very real-time feedback. So probably goes without saying, but I have some strong opinions about this, and Josh and Nikki do too. So I'm going to share my opinion with you guys today, and then it's going to be up to you and your teams to make that decision. But I do want to give you my opinion, and I want you to hear Josh and Nikki's too, because I think it's important. And I think this is a really important moment for our league and what happens in the future. So as you can imagine, I have a lot of information. I've spoken to 3 board members this week, plus Nathan, our president. I've spoken to them specifically about not only how they're feeling about the proposal, but sort of how the decision was made to bring it to the AGM for a vote anyway, because the information we were getting over the course of the last 6 or 8 weeks was that they weren't really sure they were going to bring it forward as is. Based on the feedback from the town halls, there was a lot of discussion internally amongst the board of like, maybe we wait, try to make some changes to it, and then bring it up in a little bit of a different format next year.
Yeah.
The general consensus of what I heard, guys, is that they wanted to give the membership the chance to vote it up or down as is. The general consensus that I heard was that those who voted to bring it forward, and there was a vote and there was dissent, there were people on the board on both sides of this, those that voted in the majority to bring it to a vote as is wanted people, whether they liked it or didn't like it, to just have a chance to vote, because they feel like that's what they promised us. They promised us an opportunity to give it a yes or no, and therefore they're bringing it forward to us as such. Personally, I question why you don't take something that you've solicited so much feedback on and make the changes that you're sort of hearing overwhelmingly, right? Like there was a lot of challenge to a lot of what they were saying. And to me, it feels like they could have done more to address that and brought us a proposal that we're more likely to pass. I think as is, I don't know that I believe it's likely to pass. And I think that's for the reason that, guys, they didn't really make changes to it. The only thing that's really different from what they brought us in the beginning was that they're delaying the classification aspect. Yes. And so I'll talk about that for a second. I'll talk about a couple other things, and then I'll tell you what I think, and then I want Josh and Nikki to respond. I'm going to start out by saying I don't like it. I don't like it as is. I think it's too much of a change all at once, and I don't think that it addresses the main concerns that we're being told it's meant to address. It's meant to address a referee shortage, and it's meant to address the fact that we as an organization are too big for our marquee event, which is, of course, the Conference Cup, our nationals.
Right.
There are a few things about it that are necessary. Number one, we do eventually, as a sport, have to embrace classification. Every other disabled sport in the world has had to move towards it or is moving towards it, and we are eventually going to have to do that as well. Whether or not this is the right way to implement it or not, I can't really say, but to folks who are saying they don't like it, I understand, and I understand how it conflicts with team building, but in order for us to, everybody in the sport that I've heard from wants to be a Paralympic sport. There's no path towards power soccer becoming a Paralympic sport without classification, period.
Right.
End of story.
Right.
There's also no real ability for us to compete on the world stage without it. We're going to have to figure it out.
Yep.
Number two, I think that, and this is something that I don't like about the proposal, but that I understand what it's moving towards, is that eventually I believe, and this is a hot take because I don't even think I've shared this with Josh and Nikki really, is that I think eventually we need to separate Premier Conference as its own thing and make it elite. I think that in order to market our sport, we may need to narrow its scope. And when we talk about building the sport and having 50 teams or 500 teams and however many thousands of athletes, that is great for participation, but it doesn't make it marketable and it doesn't bring sponsors in. So when we talk about how do we make nationals a manageable event, I think one of the ways we can do that is by separating the Premier Conference. We market the Premier Conference as what it is, an elite group of disabled athletes competing to be the best in the country, and make that an aspirational goal for all the other teams and athletes in our country. The third thing I think this policy needs to address and tries to is that we have to make our sport more regionally accessible to more teams and accessible to more players. I don't think this policy does that this proposal does that in the way we need it to. I understand how it tries in trying to put a marquee event in each region of the country. But as someone who lives like in Wisconsin, if my regional is in Texas and my national tournament is in California or New York City, you're actually creating a situation where it's more difficult for me to get myself and my athletes where they need to go.
Yep.
This proposal tries to do it, but it just doesn't quite, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think you're right about that. It's also like the biggest complaint that I've been getting from everybody around California tournaments and everything is that people don't want to pay for essentially two nationals in a season, because it's just we're barely scraping by as one national. And let's say regional is in Texas for the West Coast region, we got a lot of teams in California and Oregon and Colorado that have to make their way all the way to Texas. That's expensive. So I don't know how we can go about it, but that's the biggest issue that people have been complaining
Not to
about.
mention regionals is also like at least 4 days or something.
Exactly. It's a 4-day thing, hotel, van rental. We all know that van rental is like $800 to $900 just for a week. It's a lot. It adds up. So I don't know. I really don't know.
And I want to speak to this because I think the folks that I know that the people that proposed this and put this in front of us meant like have the best intentions. They
Oh, for sure.
100% want to make this sport better for all of us. I 100% don't want anybody to think that there's any sort of like philosophical difference between
Yes.
what we're saying and what George and his crew are saying. But I
Right.
think what they didn't consider and what has resonated with most of us athletes is that it's impossible for us to let go of the competitive spirit that drives us to play this sport. And
Yes.
trying to get athletes to suddenly shift their mindset from nationals is the goal to regionals is the goal, and nationals is somehow some like extra cherry on top of the cake.
Yeah.
That mentality is not a shift that's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Like that, if none of the other things I've said in the last 12 minutes resonate, that's
Yeah.
the thing I think that most matters. And I kept telling George in the early stages, because I got this before anybody else. Like George and I were talking about this back in like early, I don't even know when that was, like at a tournament somewhere, he was kind of telling me the details of this.
Yeah.
And I was like, George, I realize my reaction is an emotional one, right?
Yeah.
It's not even based in true, honest, like facts or hard logic. It's just that emotionally, as a coach in the sport, I can't not be programmed to get my team to nationals and win it. And I just think that we've seen over this process that same factor be the factor for most folks.
Yeah, I agree. So, well, like you were saying earlier, Bill, like, you know, you have the 3 conference and then you have the 1 conference. Maybe that's the way that we head if this doesn't go through. Yeah, I mean, we still are kind of separated from our peers, but at least 75% of us are still together, the 3 conference and then, you know, the 1 conference. And, you know, going to the Premier National is a big goal for everybody if you want to play that marquee 10, 12 team tournament.
I think it's fair to say here that that idea isn't mine. The idea of separating Premier into its own event and then leaving the other 3 conferences in like a conference comp situation. I don't want to say who told me because they didn't give me permission to, but it was a USPSA board member. And they told me that, or gave me that idea in the context of, I asked specifically while interviewing them, sort of like not off the record, but not in, you know, obviously you don't see him sitting here. But I was having conversations with board members and I said, have you guys had conversations about what you're going to do if it fails? And that was the response I got was, we will probably separate Premier Conference into its own sort of premier event, if you will. And boy, did that like hit me in a good place, because I thought about all of the marketing opportunities for us like that. Like I could see a Netflix series around 12 teams versus 40,
48,
right?
Yeah.
And it's still, like you said, Josh, it keeps the majority of us together. And it's also like, I could very much see myself going like, my team's in champions or my team's in presidents, but I want to go watch Premier, right? And maybe I get a hotel room and a flight and do that. But I think it still keeps the community of us together doing nationals like we said we want to.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it might be the way to do it. I mean, it would definitely alleviate a lot of issues.
You know, we were told it's supposed to alleviate referee shortages and travel concerns and just the logistics of having this large scale event. I feel like it doesn't address the referee shortage. It actually creates more need for more refs in more places. It doesn't alleviate travel concerns because we now have 2 events we have to go to. And the argument that you don't have to go to nationals does not resonate with me or the majority of athletes in the sport.
We all want to go to nationals.
Right. So I just, I respect it. I appreciate it, but it doesn't do what I want it to do.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think, Nikki?
I mean, I've said this before and I have the same sentiment, but I just think this plan is good for people who have a lot of resources.
Right.
Because even like the requirements for regionals and even the opens, like the opens have their own like set of requirements that, like now, if, you know, 3 teams want to get together and, you know, do some scrimmages and sanctioned game, have referees, like that counts for the season, but like that's not the case. Or that won't be the case like with this new proposal. And there's a lot of more organization that has to go in. sometimes it's really hard, like for teams to put together a tournament and they, just whoever shows up like barely scrape by, and like we still consider that a tournament and we make the most out of it and it's great. But like now you have to have like all your ducks in a row and everything has to kind of go perfectly in order for that to actually count and get the points needed for those to be like real games.
Well, and the point system in and of itself, sorry, Josh, like the point system in and of itself is a little bit the same way, Nick, because it like you're saying like the more tournaments you go to, really, the more points you get, kind of.
Yeah.
And that's not fair to teams that struggle to travel either.
Yeah.
Sorry, Josh, I cut you off. I didn't mean
No, I was just gonna. I can't really remember what I was gonna say, but
that's okay.
I don't
Sorry, it's my fault.
It'll come back to me.
But I think just to reiterate, like Josh, Nikki, and I are not for this. That doesn't mean it's not okay to be for it.
Right.
We don't want to tell you guys how to vote. And I will say, in talking to 3 board members and the president this week, all of them are prepared for either eventuality. Like, I actually kind of thought that some of them, being my friends, were like emotionally invested in it and that I was going to cross some of them by saying very publicly I don't like it. And I did not get that impression in my conversations this week. Like, even with George, even with Nathan, I just didn't get the impression that they're going to be upset if it doesn't pass. I think they're kind of ready for that to be the case and do have plans for how to address it if it doesn't.
Yeah.
I did want to mention one last thing about the AGM, and we're getting close to time, so I don't want to take a ton of time up with this. But we'll talk about elections in a couple of weeks. We've got vice president and treasurer are up for re-election, and there are multiple candidates, so we'll get to that. But I did want to just take this time and address quickly that there's a proposal to raise the team registration fee for USPSA. Currently, every team pays $850 to be a part of USA. That's USPSA. That's if you go to nationals, right? You pay a $350 registration fee, and you pay $500 for your team to register for nationals. That's not team insurance. If some of you are like, we pay more than that, it's team insurance is the extra. But right now, fees and registration, you pay $850. There's a proposal to raise that by $100. I wanted to just sort of, before I do, the rationale for that is what you would expect, right? It's everything costs more in 2026. Unfortunately, we just live in a world where things cost more. And so, yes, we have to make up the deficit somewhere. I understand that. But I wanted to just really quickly, and this could get lengthy, but I'm going to try really hard not to. I want to talk numbers just really quick. Right now, USPSA has, and these are rounded numbers, so like there's tails on all of these numbers, but they're close. Right now, USPSA has about $275,000 in the bank. This past season, 25-26 season, we brought in $390,000. Of that, $138,000 was team registration, and $139,000 was income from the Copa being hosted here. So we made some money for hosting the Copa. In both cases, about $138,000, $139,000. That's 35% of the overall intake from this past season. So the reason I think that's important is I want to talk about donations for a minute. Individual donations to USPSA make up 19% of income, and organizational donations, meaning those corporations that we see that donate money to the sport, they only brought in 6%. All right. So as it is in 25-26, 25% exactly came from donations, organizational and individual combined, and 35% came from us. If we hadn't hosted the Copa, Josh and Nikki, our contribution, players and teams, our contribution would have been 56%.
Wow.
meaning that we are funding over half
The league. Yeah.
of the league right now.
Mhm.
And I think, though I understand we can't just wake up tomorrow morning and raise more money,
Right.
I question the logic behind raising team fees without putting a whole new effort, I guess, into
Yeah.
raising donations. We know our sport
Yeah.
is growing. We know we need to have at
Yeah.
least 2 venues for our marquee events and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But
Right.
the reason we have a board and the reason we elect folks to run this organization is to, and I know they have, right, to some degree, right? We hired Enoch this year. He's working on big fundraising stuff for the
Yep.
league. I know
Yep.
Vice President Brett Passmore is working really hard to get more organizations on board. But I
Yep.
question the logic of asking players and their families to pay more when we're already struggling to get where we need to go. And
Yeah.
I'll shut up on that note.
Yeah. No, I mean there's a very valid worry. Like you said, everybody's a lot of teams are scraping by just to get money. Um, but like you said, everything is getting expensive. But my question is, what will we get out of it if we spend $100 more? Will we get something something really cool? Like, it's just are we gonna get a pyrotechnic show, or we get on the court? When it's a championship game, or music or a spotlight. I don't know, but if you want to justify spending more money, let's get some cool stuff out of it, right? Come
Maybe
on.
look at a sticker.
Yeah, maybe we'll get a sticker. Wow, that's an expensive sticker.
I suspect they're trying to, as somebody who has some background in like politics and governance,
Yeah.
I suspect that they're trying to cover current cost
Yeah.
without dipping into like our
Reserve.
current assets.
Yeah.
What,
Yeah.
Nikki?
Reserved.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like I said before, we have 275,000 on hand. That's
Mhm.
reserves kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
My assumption is when you talk about inflation, you talk about cost of living now
Yeah.
in 2026. I
Yeah.
don't think you're getting pyrotechnic, Josh.
Bummer.
I think to be fair to them, I think that the proposal is to keep the status quo would be my
Yeah.
guess.
No, that's pretty much what it's gonna be. So one man can dream.
I think that would be a little more expensive.
It would be. It would be 101 more than what we get.
One more dollar from
Just
everybody.
one more dollar, man. Just one more
One more
dollar.
dollar for
But
everybody.
we did forget to mention something. We do have a brand new appointed person for the Western Regional Director position.
Mhm.
John Rivas is now the Western Regional Director, who's taken over Joel Rodriguez. He is the father of Kai Rivas from Arizona. I always forget which Arizona team it is. It's
Ability 360.
360 Phoenix Rising, not United. It's Phoenix Rising. So John is, I don't know if you guys all know, he is now the Western Regional Director. So congratulations, John. Thanks for joining the USPSA family.
And honestly, like we just spent 25 minutes giving him flack, but like thanks
Yes.
to everybody on the USPSA board.
Seriously,
Honestly,
yeah.
like not only do you have a hard job, but now you have to deal with me yapping about you every other
Yeah.
week or whatever.
Mhm.
Like
Yep.
we do appreciate the work that goes into
Yep.
what you do, and I don't
Mhm.
want anybody to think that that's unappreciated.
Right.
I think that everybody appreciates the effort going into
Mhm.
that, and props to, I'm sorry, what's his name? John, Kai's dad.
John Rivas.
Yeah, thanks
Yeah.
to John and for everybody for stepping up
Mhm.
and being willing to do that because it's
Yeah.
a job I don't want,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
All right.
I get it.
You've probably heard us talk enough.
Yep.
I think we'll get to what y'all came for.
Exactly.
We have this week we're talking about founders and presidents conference.
Mhm.
Next week we're talking about champions and premier conference. The week after that we have a very special episode for you guys that we've been working on. We're super excited about it. We've
Mhm.
truly been working on it like at least as long as we've been working on competition restructure.
Yeah, pretty
Finally
much.
going to show that to you guys, and then right after that we'll see it nationals. So
Wow.
thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for all of your support this season. You've made this so fun and so great. You've made it so I get to hang out with Josh and Nikki a lot more, which I really like. Anything else, guys? I think we're there.
No. I think I just want to say thank you to everybody that's been watching season 2 of Three in the Box podcast. We've got a lot more interactions this year than last year with people commenting and texting us and coming up to us to local tournaments. We appreciate the love and support for the podcast, and you guys just make us want to work even harder to bring you guys good product and information.
Well said.
Okay, that's a wrap.
All right, we're gonna go hang out with Kirsten and then Enoch. Enjoy the show. We'll see you next week. Welcome back to Three in the Box, everybody. We are here with Kirsten Passmore of the Houston Fireballs, winner of the favorite kit of the year in my rankings, which were the rankings that matter. Thanks for joining us, Kirsten.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me back.
Excited to have you back. Kirsten showed us up big time on the last rankings episode we did. And I have a feeling based on our recent conversation that she's going to show us all up again. Kirsten is extremely thorough in her researching of these rankings.
I'm trying to be.
Doing a great job. First of all, Founders Conference, we want to share a little bit of news that we've confirmed here. There are 2 Founders qualified teams that will not be making the trip to Nationals this year, unfortunately. Disappointed to hear that. The Central Virginia Vipers and the NEP Thundercats will not be making the trip to Nationals this year. So that brings Founders Conference down from 12 teams to 10. So NEP Thundercats, Central Virginia Vipers, we're really sorry we're not going to see you guys. We did omit those teams from our rankings so that we could more accurately represent like how it's going to go at Nationals. So just wanted to throw that out there. Hopefully we'll see those guys in 2027.
Let's get this show on the road.
So getting this show on the road, we'll start with the bottom here at Founders Conference. All of us have Dreamplex Dragons in 10th. And then we've got some Atlanta Sting Academy, some Turnstone Furious Flyers, a lot of North Texas fully charged. What do we think down here, guys? Who wants to lead us off?
We
go
both
ahead, Nikki.
Dreamplex Dragons and Atlanta Sting earlier this season, and I just have them ranked because they are similarly like competitive levels, and they were losing a lot of games, but the Dreamplex Dragons have a lot of resources, and this is their first year, so I do think they have the potential to get better.
I'm impressed with their marketing. If you look at their Instagram, I mean, they got music in their footage. They had someone sponsor like catering. I want catering at my tournaments. So I wasn't able to see any footage, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. You can come out swinging.
Yeah, organizationally, I mean, they're definitely ahead of the game as far as that goes. So we've seen this before. Hint, hint, Minnesota United, where like a team, has a lot of resources and does a lot of recruiting and kind of shoots up the ranks pretty quick.
I've been impressed with what they're doing social media wise. I did catch a little bit of the tape because they played Florida Surge. The Dreamplex Dragon did get, they got hit pretty hard by Florida. But Dreamplex Dragon's first tournament.
It's not bad.
I thought they looked pretty good for being a very first tournament in the organization. So I have them in a 10 spot for now. But that's not to say that they could surprise a few teams, I think, at Nationals. But Bill, Nikki, and I have always said we are always happy to see brand new teams coming on the horizon, because that just means that our sport is growing domestically. So we're excited to see the Dreamplex Dragons in person in a month.
Yeah, and I love the name too. They're orange. I love name. Orange.
Yeah. I might have to change my kit ranking next year.
Okay, I like yours though.
Thank you.
It's so Florida. It's so Orlando, Florida. Like just loud and obnoxiously in your face. I've spent too much time in Florida. All right. So you guys have Atlanta Sting Academy down here. And we're going to save it, but I've got them ranked a little higher. As I've got Turns Home Furious Flyers down here as we start to creep up like 5, 6, 5, 6, 7. I really see a lot of these teams. Like I had a really hard time ranking my like 6 through 9, really 5 through 9. Firecrackers, Flyers, RHI Inferno, Atlanta Sting, like all these teams are kind of similarly built to me.
Yes.
I know that like Kirsten's done a lot of research. Kirsten, do you want to talk about any of those teams?
Yeah. So like you, I had a lot of hard time deciding, where to put people. Thankfully, there were some stats, and as far as I know, they're updated. And so I think we talked about it last episode I was on. You can play really good all season, and then the one tournament, that's videoed, you have an unlucky bounce and miscommunication. So I'm like, that game could have been anybody's game. And a lot of these guys, they were playing each other when I was watching that match. So it was like, okay, over here, PK, okay, over here, there was an indirect situation. So it's kind of a mixed bag to me. And so I think anyone could take pretty much any ranking.
I agree with that. I had a really hard time with like Firecrackers and Flyers, a lot of like similar results between those teams. RHI Inferno was a team that I had picked back in February to do pretty well in this conference. I think they will. I've got them in 6th. I've got Atlanta Sting a little higher at 5. I saw them competing against teams like Lakeshore Force, another team they played well against, Brooks Barracudas. Those are President's teams, right? That I thought, if a Founders team is doing well against President's teams, I see them as a little higher. But any of those teams, Sting, Inferno, Firecrackers, Flyers, like I think there's a lot of parity in the middle of this conference.
Yeah. When you're going up against a team that's in a higher bracket, even if you lose, by how much do you lose? It's like, it's really not that bad.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a perfect example. Like I have Sting Academy had a tie against Lakeshore First earlier this year. To me, that's an excellent result against the President's team. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And we don't know, right? We talk all the time about this, but like we don't know who's playing in what games. We unfortunately don't have those stat capabilities yet. Like sometimes we get to watch the live stream or the YouTube after, but not always. And so it's hard to say who's got who on the court and when. But Atlanta Sting Academy 8-8 as far as like recorded record on the website this year. So that's not bad.
That's not bad. That's not bad. Yeah, I got them pretty low this year. I don't know. They got to, I recognize some of the names. SK and Tyler Glazer.
I put them in the middle. I think I put them at 5.
Okay. Yeah, I think you. Yeah, you did put them at 5. Yeah.
They can go up or down. Just again, because it's so even.
Yeah. Exactly. So. It's again. If I know I sound like a broken record, and I'm sure Bill and Nikki could say the same thing. It's hard to rank the Founders Conference, just because it's so evenly matched, and
even a lot of these.
Also,
go ahead.
Just the lack of information that comes through as well, the lack of updating and videos. So it's hard to say because a lot of these teams are like Midwest East Coast teams. So I don't really get to see it in person, and and Nikki gets to see some of these teams, and I know Bill does too. So it's hard.
Well, and online, there's not footage either.
Exactly.
Not a lot.
Yeah, right.
We all see the different teams in our region, and that's something that makes it hard to rank too. Is like these teams sort of play the other teams in their region. We don't necessarily get to see them across conferences. To talk a little bit about, speaking of teams we don't see a lot of, Commonwealth Cruisers and Virginia Chargers, I had a hard time with these teams. I do think as we creep up here into 4, 3, 2, 1, I do think Virginia and Vermont and Commonwealth are going to be top teams in this conference. They play tough against each other. They play tough against other teams in the Northeast, but it is hard because we don't see them playing teams from the West, teams from the Midwest very often.
Yep.
We're just kind of going by what we know.
Or here.
I've got a team up here, though, that a lot of you guys have ranked lower. I see that Nikki
Okay.
has them up here with me, but Ability 360 United, I think Josh and Kirsten, you guys might be sleeping on.
Yeah.
They played really well against Rose City. They beat Borp 2-0 earlier in the
Okay.
season.
Wow.
They played a game against Minnesota United that they
Okay.
drew. I don't know. I'm looking at the results of that team, and I just think Tony Jackson program teams always sneak up on me. And so I went ahead and I jumped Ability 360 United all the way up to second. I wouldn't be surprised to see them in the championship game in this conference.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
it wouldn't be surprising. Sorry, Josh. Go right on ahead.
No, you go. You did.
Oh, okay. So I was able to watch some of the Ability 360 United footage. They were playing against the LA Angels, I believe. And there were some mistakes that cost them. And I mean, the score started just racking up, and I was like, they had the right idea, right passing. I think they were trying to play the 4-up, and we know that that's a hard transition to do. And their defender was just too far up. Ball bounces back, and that happened more than twice. So I think as you make that transition, and it's hard to make it, we can't even do it at the fireballs completely. So I think once they get that down pat, then they're golden. But I think there's just some learning curves that were burning them a little bit.
I feel like it takes a lot of guts to try and play 4-up at Founders, though. Like, I didn't even realize that. Like, I got to give them credit for that. I mean, if they can execute on that at all, like, no disrespect to other Founders teams, but that's dangerous. Like, if you can figure out how to put that all together and execute against Founders teams at Nationals, that's going to be tough. That's gonna be really tough.
Not even some of the top teams that we have in this ranking do it. So if they can pull it off, that'd be great. So I'm looking at the Ability 360 stats here. Now, this is very limited stats that's not updated all the way. But based on the numbers that I see here, they're minus 38 on goal differential.
Yeah, but they're playing teams. Okay, hang on.
Yeah.
That's because they lost 7-0 to Colorado, 9-0 to LAFC, and 11-1 to Straps. Those are a premier team and a freaking champions team.
I play Straps in my backyard, and I'm still looking at like goal differential. So like, no judgment here.
Talk about Jada and Jacob now. Like, they're not in Founders Conference.
Yep.
Love them. Yeah, no.
Oh yeah.
Goal differential. Get out of here.
No, I literally, we were always like, look at Jada, look at Jacob. You got to split them up. So if you're not used to seeing them play their game, and even if you do, you're like, oh God, there goes the ball.
Yep. And Jacob's got a mean kick, but that's
there's a reason they're not in Founders Conference.
Yes, he does.
Yep, he's got a mean
he has
kick.
That smirk he does, right? When he has you where he wants you. So no, they should be very proud of what they're doing and what they're trying to do. I think 4-up will be the future of power soccer. That's just my theory. But until that's solidly done, it's really rough.
Growing pains.
Yes. Especially as keeper.
Yep.
Kirsten, I want to ask you as we talk about top 3 here.
Yes, sir.
We've all got Rose City Renegades in first. You've got them in fourth. You've got RHI Inferno in first. You want to talk to us a little bit about
RHI Inferno, that wasn't their original spot. That's not really where I had put them originally. But like I said before, I was able to catch their live streams as I was making their rankings. And I saw some really good stuff. They were at the Mary Freebed Overdrive tournament. And forgive me, I'm looking at my notes up here. So let me see what I had put down for RHI. Here we go. So they had really good kicks. Sideline kicks they were beautiful. There was a lot of contact though. So I think as they get that under control, they'll maintain possession. Let's see. Then when I had looked at their stats, it said they had like 42 individual goals. So even in their standings on the USPSA website, they're considered within the top 3. So I was like, I don't know what I missed, but that's That's crazy because I know that those are recorded. Rose City Renegades, love them. I loved watching them. I could hear Enoch talk from the footage, and he's not even commentary.
Yep.
He was facilitating, and I do notice that his wings, they're not as experienced as he is. So I think as they grow on that, there'll be that full connection into the goal. And less contact as well. Just, it happens. So I think, no, they're absolutely working with different players. And as they rise together, it'll all come together. So that's kind of why I put them where I did.
Sure. Nikki, were you going to talk about Inferno?
Yeah.
I was just gonna say they have like Luke and Kendall now, and it's just a little bit of a different squad. So I think that kind of bumps them up higher.
Yeah. Yeah, where did Luke come from? I forget which squad.
He was with Kendall.
Right.
They were both, I believe, on the Hot Shots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Orange is definitely a stronger team. I have them at number 2. I did not think that I would put them that high before because I had them. Where did I have them before? I had them at I had them in 10th spot.
You put them in 10th last time.
I had them
3
put
months
them in a
ago.
10th spot 3 months ago. So now there's a 10 with 12 teams. So now it's 10 teams this time coming off. But I put them in second.
Better.
Yeah, I know. So, but like, I mean, they're a very good team with Luke on the team now. I think they're gonna be my sleeper. They're my sleeper pick for this tournament, and obviously for Kirsten as well.
Can I add something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
There's something to be said about team chemistry. Luke and Kendall were teammates, obviously.
Yep.
And I know Kendall usually played in a defensive position, and so during the Mary Free Bed tournament, that's where she was a lot of time. Other times she played a wing, but they were able to bring that chemistry over. You didn't have to start completely from scratch. You knew how each other played, so that helps.
That does help.
Yeah, here. I thought I was ranking RHI Inferno by having them in 6. You guys all have them higher than me. I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense. Also, Kirsten, as we talk about these top 3 here, to your point about Rose City, I think I have them in first. Nikki and Josh have them in first. I was slightly surprised when I saw them stay in first with Nikki and Josh, because when I look at their results, they have a lot of losses this year that I wouldn't have necessarily expected them to have.
Yeah.
But honestly, the losses don't super scare me. They beat 360 United 2-0, which is a team that I have ranked really high. They didn't have Enoch and Chico. So when I look at their results, Joshua, that was your fault. They didn't have Enoch on the team in Chico. So those results, I guess I don't even really count.
They're kind of muted,
But they took losses to Borp, to Uruguay national team somehow. Rapids, Heat, LA Galaxy, NMN, UFC. Those are all better teams. I think that makes them better, honestly, to me. I think that this team that we've seen and that we said 3 months ago was going to be really good in this conference, I think that brings them up. So I'm sort of rolling with them. Like, I feel like, 3 months ago I said they're going to run away with this conference.
Yes.
I don't feel as confident about that now, if I'm being honest. But I do still have them there, and if I'm going to bet on somebody, I think it's still them.
Yes.
I think that's fair. Like we had discussed before, we don't get to see roster changes. We don't see how that plays into team chemistry. Maybe they weren't feeling good that day or something. So yeah, it does change if you don't have your usual starting lineup. I did look at stats, so that probably did affect where I put them also.
Yeah. I mean, Nikki, why did you put them in first place?
I I still think that they have a chance to win. Like they were like 4th last nationals, and then everyone moved up. So like they're still in the top for me.
I thought they were going to move up last year.
Yeah, I honestly, that's why I had them running away with it back in February, is because like they were so close to, who was it? Colorado, Mary Free Bed, and Motor City. Like they were so close to those teams, and they were the only one that didn't move up. That was kind of my rationale for not.
That's insane to me.
Yeah. So I still stand by them taking it all this year. We had the pleasure of playing against them, and they're a really good team. Believe it or not, Enoch's kick has gotten even harder somehow. I don't know how that's possible.
No.
Oh yeah. He says, and I quote, that I have the fastest kick in power soccer now. Over Pete Wentz. I think they measured it somehow at power soccer camp this past July.
You can measure it?
I guess you can. I don't know
They
how.
got the pitch. They got the pitch gun on.
Yeah, with the radar gun or the G-force meter on the
That's
stretch point. I don't know.
terrifying.
It is terrifying. And so that being said, I think with his kicking prowess, they are gonna hopefully take this year.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Kirsten Passmore of the Houston Fireballs, thank you so much for joining us. Always impressive, your research capabilities and how you come up with all this stuff. We appreciate you. And we will continue with the aforementioned Enoch in the next segment talking about President's Conference. Thanks for joining us. Stick around.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to 3 in the Box, powered by Power Soccer Shop. We are here with Enoch Stalcup from the Rose City Renegades to talk about President's Conference. How we doing, Enoch?
I'm doing fantastic. How about you?
Living the dream, buddy. Living the dream.
Yeah.
Excited to talk about a conference that was harder for me than it was 3 months ago, honestly. I have less clarity in the President's Conference than I did when we did this in February.
Yeah, I agree with you, Bill. I agree, because some teams did better than I thought during the regular season, so my ranking got shifted around big time.
Yeah, exactly. There were teams I had near the bottom in February that I want to move up, but then it's like, who am I moving down? Right?
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So I struggled with this. I was glad to see that a lot of you guys had movement in yours as well. We'll get started here. Sort of start with these bottom 3. Still everybody with CV Hooligans, Chippewa Valley in the 12 spot. Been a tough season for those guys. Lost a big piece. Just hasn't been the season for them. But I think they'll be there. I think we're glad to, see them play and get out there. Brooks Barracudas. 3 of us have Brooks Barracudas in 11th. Enoch's got them in 10th. And then some discrepancy. We got Hot Shots and Arizona Heat down here. I actually raised the Hot Shots pretty far in my rankings, and I see Enoch did too. Yeah.
They've been winning.
Winning
talks, man.
Winning does talk. Who they been winning against?
Ooh, I knew you were going to ask me that, Joshua.
Better be prepared, Bill.
No, I'm prepared. I just have 12 windows open on my computer.
Oh, man.
So again, and we said this in the last segment, talking to Kirsten and Founders, but it's hard to know exactly the situation for games like this, right? But I'm looking back here in March, just maybe 5 weeks ago. Hotshots beat Dassa Cyclones 3-0. They had a close game against Mary Freebed. They have a close game against Aspo. And they have 2 wins against RHI Inferno, who's a Founders team, but a pretty darn good Founders team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they also beat Motor City Eagles, too. And North Texas fully charged.
Yeah. So, and they beat Mary Freebed earlier in the year. So, I mean,
they beat them 8-3.
Yeah. And Mary Freebed's a team. Remember, Mary Freebed's a team that really plays with lineup. I think they bring different groups of people to different tournaments.
Right. Yeah.
So that's when I'm careful when I look at. I mean, their A squad is good. Their A squad is going to, and we'll talk about them in this conference a little bit later. But I mean, I'm careful when I look at results against Mary Freebed because they brought different groups of folks to different tournaments.
Yeah, they kind of mix and mash it.
But let's talk real quick about this Arizona Heat because. This is another one like Hot Shots. Enoch and I have Arizona Heat down here in the bottom 3, but Josh and Nikki, you guys have them a lot higher than that.
Yes, I do.
Explain yourself.
Yeah, Nikki, you want to go ahead?
I mean, I don't know exactly how their season's gone because I can't find stats anywhere, But I know that they have some veteran players on their team who've been playing for a while, so I thought maybe they might do pretty well.
Just to sort of interject here, and Josh, I want to hear from you. In what I'm seeing online, and now we take this online stuff with a grain of salt, but online I'm looking at 2 ties and 6 losses, it looks like. Lost to Ducks, lost to Phoenix Rising, draws with LA Angels and Ability United. They've also lost to Phoenix Rising, lost to LAFC, and lost to Galaxy. And then they also had a 3-2 loss to Rapids.
Yeah. Some of those losses against, or the champions teams and Premier League teams, you got to kind of wipe those off, obviously.
I mean, true.
But they played the Rolling Rapids and they lost to them 3-2, which is Colorado's a very good team, and I have Colorado pretty high up in my list. So to say, I have Arizona Heat at number 4. I think the Arizona Heat is going to be a good team this year. We played against them at Nationals, and they're a good team. They kind of play like a bully ball style soccer, and it works for them. And so, like I said, like Nikki said, they got veteran players on that squad, and so they're older, they're getting better, and so we'll see. I mean, I hope to see them finish as high as I think they will, but we'll see.
Yeah, I have them down at 11, mostly because they tied the Ability 360.
Yeah,
and
that's fair.
They're a very beginner team. Like we beat them 5-0 in the first half, and then loafed it in the second half, and they still couldn't score.
You're talking about Ability 360 United, correct?
United.
United.
Okay, that's who they tied against, though.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You're right.
You know what I mean?
I really struggled with. Go ahead.
No, that was all I was saying. When you tie against a team like that.
Yeah,
they're gonna have some struggles, I think, at Nationals.
Yeah,
I really struggled with where to rank Arizona Heat because yes, I'm looking at like ties to Ability 360 United, but then they also tied LA Angels, who's a team that I have kind of middle of the pack. We'll get up there in a minute. And then they had a 1-goal loss to Rapids, who I have ranked very high. So I sort of see the justification, like where Nikki and Josh have them. I just had a hard time ranking them up there with some of the other teams that I have.
So knowing the Colorado Rapids that they had a 1-score loss to, I know that if they are up, like say they were up 3-0 in the first half, they'll pull their 2 best players for the rest of the game.
Colorado?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're especially in the regular season, like they're not going to do that in Nationals, but in the regular season, they'll do that to even the playing field for other teams and get people more. That way people aren't getting defeated. They have they're young guys and they know what it's like to get smashed by people who are way better than them. So they're very good about equalizing the playing field in the second half in regular season games.
Okay.
So you kind of got to take that close game to it with a grain of salt too, because I feel like if they played their top 4 the whole game, they would just smash them.
Yeah, for sure.
That's fair.
I've played Colorado, and they are a good, tough team. They're young, but they've got a lot of energy and they move quick.
They do move very quickly. I watch the tapes, and they're like the set plays are very clean, very nice.
Yep.
A lot of them are
very creative.
Very creative set plays. Yes.
Yep.
All right. So as we move up the table here, let's talk about our 7, 8, 9. All 4 of us have Motor City Eagles at 9. I see some Borp Shockers here. I see some LA Angels here. And then a little bit of Houston Fireballs and a little bit of Borp.
Very
Not
much.
to mention the Gophers.
What about the Gophers?
You also have the Gophers here.
Did I not mention that? I have the Chico Gophers at 8. I am the lowest here on that. And I'm sorry to my good friend Josh, who I like very much. And this is not a slight against your character or your coaching abilities, Josh. But I do think I saw some results against Borp. I saw results against LA Angels, and I had a hard time justifying ranking you guys above those teams.
Yeah, and that's totally justifiable. totally justifiable.
Well, thank you, Josh. I appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. But we also not always been the healthiest team this year either, so
Sure.
that's been a big issue this year.
Listen, man, I got a Gophers jersey and I got a Gophers hat, and I'm gonna be wearing it at Nationals.
You're a Gopher. You're a number one Gopher fan. I know.
I'm a fan. But I'm taking a cue from Nikki Dwyer down here, and I'm not afraid to rank my teams or myself in her case.
Yeah.
Where I think they belong.
That's okay. You're just adding. You're just adding fuel to the fire.
I hope so. I hope I'm wrong. I really, truly do.
We'll prove you wrong.
I didn't put Gophers above Borp just because I've seen them play Borp.
Yes.
You one of the losses that they have against Borp was a loss because I was playing for them.
Yeah, I know.
Right. Yeah. And I played goal the whole time. I didn't jump up or play anywhere else on the field.
Yeah, you were no way indirectly involved on the offense.
They were 90% of the time in scoring opportunities in that game. Both of those games, actually. So I do believe, in my opinion, the Gophers, if healthy, will beat Borp. They'll place higher than Borp for sure.
I believe in that too.
Thank you, guys.
If healthy.
If healthy, exactly.
If healthy. Yeah, absolutely. I have Houston Fireballs ranked higher than you guys, Nikki and Enoch. Josh does too. Talk to me a little bit about Houston Fireball. Nikki or Enoch? Nikki or Enoch.
I honestly didn't find a whole lot of stats on them, so they were kind of a question mark for me. I placed them based off of where I placed other people, honestly.
Sure. Okay.
I just didn't have it. I don't have enough information to say definitively whether they belong higher or lower or where I put them. That's just kind of where they fell in my cards.
That makes sense.
Okay, that's fine.
Nikki, is that your?
It's hard to say without knowing stats, but I know that last year at Nationals they finished fairly low, and then I've seen them play this year a little bit, but they weren't playing like their full squad, and so they looked well improved since last year at Nationals. But I don't think that they're going to be like in the top 3 necessarily based on how much they've been.
Sure. And I know some of their games they had some extra players for earlier in the year. Like one of the tournaments they went to, they had Jaden Jacob with them. I think,
yeah, they did. Where was that? In Alabama?
It was here.
No, that was Virginia Beach.
Oh, Virginia,
that's right. Virginia Beach.
Yeah.
The Blizzard tournament that never was, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But didn't Blizzard?
Josh, talk to me about Borp a little bit, because you see these guys.
Borp is Borp. They're a defensive sound team. They are playing, they're playing with that Margaret on the wing now, and Ian is now the keeper, and then Brittany is, she's the kind of the vocal leader on that squad now, and she really does make the team better, and so I don't know. I mean, it's not much, just really too much to say. They are looking pretty strong this year. They do hold their own against like the Angels sometimes, which is pretty impressive. So yeah.
Okay. You were much hotter on this team in February. That's what I was expecting.
I was pretty hot on them earlier, like you said. But it's the offense is a little stale sometimes, and so if they can get the passing to click as much as they are strong on their defense, then I think they'll be a pretty good top half team if they can master both sides of the ball.
Yeah, they are a better passing team than they have been in the past for sure.
Yes.
I think that has to do. I actually got to coach Ian at camp. I was his mentor. Yeah. And it kind of clicked for him that he doesn't have to be the guy with the ball all the time. And so that's why he's set back now in the goal position.
Yeah.
And he's given instruction because the guy has a wealth of knowledge of the sport. Yeah. And seeing Brittany's very vocal and she's very physical.
Very physical.
Very physical. Yeah. I think I got a yellow card against them in our home tournament.
That was when you were playing for my team.
But that's right. I got a yellow card for the Gophers, which was fun. But But yeah, I mean, that team is definitely firing off better than they were. I think I moved them up a little bit from where I had them at the beginning of the year. For sure. They have the opportunity to really play tough against any team if they can get it all put together.
Yeah.
For sure.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Moving up the table, 4, 5, 6. I've got LA Angels in 6. Josh Lakeshore. Nikki's got Chico. Enoch's got Borp. There's a lot of Chico golfers in here. Nikki and Josh have got Arizona Heat. Lakeshore is a team that I think we all moved up. I even have them a little bit higher. I've got them in 3rd, but you guys talk to me. All 3 of you, I think, have Lakeshore in this area except Nikki. Nikki's real high on Lakeshore, but somebody here to talk to me about Lakeshore Force. We've all moved them up the table.
Yeah, I moved them up based on their record this year. I don't know much about them, like the individual players or anything. I haven't got to see them play. But looking at their record and who they were able to defeat and play against, I thought that they had a well-deserved spot in the top 4 for sure.
Yeah.
I saw them at a tournament a couple months ago, and we definitely underestimated them like earlier in the season because they didn't do too well at nationals last year.
Right.
But they like look completely different now.
Really?
They don't even necessarily have to like talk to each other that much on the court because they just know like what they're gonna do.
Are they a passing team now, or what's kind of their style? Because I know like before you and I discussed it at national that they were kind of playing a bully style power soccer. Has that changed in any way?
Yeah, they have more passing and they have some solid plays. Okay. And how they score is not, necessarily just driving it in. They actually have good passing and accuracy, and they've definitely grown up because I think the oldest player on that team is like 15 or 16. So
wow,
they're definitely doing better, and they're beating, like champion level teams.
Yeah,
I didn't realize they were that young.
I'm looking at, they're real young. I mean, I'm looking at the record right now. Like they beat Tidewater 2-1. They beat, they lost to Shepherd Strikers 1-0. They beat them 1-0. They beat Atlanta State Academy 5-0. So they're holding their own this year, which is fantastic to see because they're so young. Mm-hmm. So they're progressing a lot quicker than I thought they would.
Well, and sometimes too, like, it's hard to go by these stats and by these records sometimes. But one thing that I always look at is like some of the losses and like the margins. They have 2 pretty close losses to Atlanta Sting. Yeah. They have 1 loss against Auburn that got a little out of hand, but they have another one that was pretty close. Like teams that are losing 3-0 to Auburn, right? Yeah. And are in the President's Conference. That's like a pretty decent result against a team with Auburn that has more weapons than they know what to do with.
Exactly. Yeah.
Agreed.
So, good job, Lakeshore. You guys are showing everybody up this year so far, and you guys keep doing that at national because I can't wait to see what you guys can do.
I've got LA Angels in 6. Nikki's got them in 5. Enoch's got them in 7. I like LA Angels this year. I think I've seen improvements from them. They see a lot of really good teams on the West Coast. Uh-huh. And I have them. I mean, we've seen some pretty decent results from them, keeping games close with teams that are better and beating teams that are, kind of in that range or maybe a little bit lower. So I think moving them up for me, I mean, I didn't move them up a lot. I think 2 places, but I've seen good things from LA Angels as they come together in their 2nd or 3rd year now.
Yeah. I mean, they did lose. They lost Chase this year. He transferred to the LA Galaxy, but they're a solid team still. So I'm very curious to see what they can do. I mean, Joel Rodriguez is the heart of that team, and also the coach of the team. So he's coached them up pretty well. So we'll see. I mean, I think they'll do better than what they did last year at nationals.
And they did pretty well last year too.
They did, and they could do even better.
I think they finished higher than we had them last year, didn't they? I want to say. I can't remember, and I don't have last year's rankings in front of me.
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, but they're always neck and neck with both Shockers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Josh, I have Houston Fireballs in 4th. As we jump up into our top 3 here, I see you've got them in 3rd.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your justification for bringing Houston Fireballs up the table.
Let's see. I had the stats.
Actually, you had them in 2nd, so you've been hot on them all year.
Yeah, I moved them. Let's see, what did I do with the Houston Fireballs? So I like the way they play. They're a fast team. And I believe what's that kid's name on the roster?
Rado.
Yeah, Rado. He has been lights out this season. Totally lights out. And so between Rado and both Martinez and Kirsten and Modesto, they're a fast team and they like to pass well. And Kirsten Passmore is a great keeper, and she knows how to keep the ball alive when the ball is coming to her to send it back to the other end of the offensive zone. I have high hopes for them this season. I really think so, and part of it is having one of the best uniforms in the game too, according to Bill. So and look good, play good, feel good, whatever that slogan is.
I admittedly I don't do this a lot, and I'm the show me guy, right? Show me the results, and I'll move you to the table. My ranking of Houston Fireballs is a little aspirational, but also that Rado kid is out of control. Really,
he's good.
Talk about a scoring machine that has the opportunity to pretty much do it from anywhere, anytime. Yeah. I feel like this is a team that the more and more they play together, the more and more they're going to come together. And I've seen this is another team that, because they brought a weird roster to Virginia Beach and they had some other things going on, some of these losses that are listed online are official losses, but they weren't losses in the actually. I don't know. They had a tie with Straps. I got Straps ranked pretty high in Champions Conference.
Yep.
They competed with Florida Surge. They ran with Tidewater. They ran with Aspo. This is a team that, they almost did they beat Aspo in a game, or did they tie Aspo or something?
I have no idea.
Aspo beat them one day, and then the next day they beat Aspo.
Yeah, I don't know. I think with a goal scorer like Rado, and like you said, they got Modesto, they got Kirsten. These are good players, and they got a program that has a lot going for it too, as well, right?
Yes.
A lot of resources, a lot of good people behind them, supporting them. I think this is a team that we could see in the top 3 this year and next.
I think so too. But did they lose a player? I thought they had a kid named Jackson on the squad, or is that a different team?
Oh, that was Jackson.
Okay, yeah, I don't see him on the roster here, so
don't trust the website. Don't trust the website.
It could be.
I would not be surprised to see them end up in the top 3, top 4.
Yeah,
for sure. That Rado kid's amazing.
I
got to spend a lot of time with Rado at camp last year, and that kid was on fire for the sport. Every day he got better. It was ridiculous to watch.
That's good.
He's going to do great things over the next 4 or 5 years for sure.
Nice. Good.
Yeah. Agreed. Like that team. Like that team a lot. All right. Top 3. Myself and Josh are rolling with the Rolling Rapids of Colorado. They haven't had the absolute greatest season, but I like what they're doing. I like who they're hanging with. Yep. All of us have Mary Freebed Overdrive in 2nd, except for Enoch. Enoch went ahead and moved him up to 1st. I'm going to ask you about that in a second, Enoch. And then we got a lot of hot shots up here. We talked about them a little. I shouldn't say a lot. Enoch's got hot shots up here. Nikki I have them in 5th. First, let's talk about Mary Freebed Overdrive. I'm going to start with you, Enoch, on Mary Freebed Overdrive.
Yeah, I think they're an incredibly tough team. I played against them last year. We were the first team to actually score against them all season last season, and we still only got 1. And they only allowed 2 goals at nationals last year, period, which is insane. They've got a lot of the same players, so when they're playing their top 4, they're at their best. I don't see Colorado being able to handle them, to be honest with you. They put a lot of pressure on their defense. They have a stout defense when you're coming after them, and you don't get a lot of scoring opportunities against them. So that's why I got them at number 1. And Colorado is a great team, don't get me wrong, but they're kind of sporadic in the way they play. They're more bully style, like Josh was saying earlier. Mary Freebed can pass the ball. They're very good at it. They don't have to communicate.
Kind of a finesse team.
They're very finesse team. Their plays are very well organized. Everybody's accuracy on that team. They may not have the biggest power, but their accuracy is amazing, and that can get you a long ways in the sport.
They're also just very consistent. Like when you look at what Mary Freebed does from game to game, from tournament to tournament, this year and last, I don't know where, like they weren't really on my radar until last year, and now all of a sudden, like every time I see them play, it's like incredibly consistent. They're finessey, but they're defensive as well. Like I just have been really impressed. You don't always see we struggle with these rankings because teams are all over the place, right? Not really Mary Freebed. Mary Freebed's pretty solid.
Well,
I didn't even know who they were till Nationals last year.
Right, me either.
Let me give you a quick rundown. Let me give you a quick rundown on how they did. They beat Motor City Eagles 3 times this season. They also beat they tied with Florida Surge, and they lost to Nikki's team 1-0. And they beat the Hot Shots 3-0. I mean, they're in there. They're in the fight. So I'm very impressed with Mary Freebed Overdrive. I mean, they were a Founders team last year. So this is incredible. Yeah.
Nikki, I want to know if you have anything to add on Mary Freebed, and then I want you to talk to me about Lakeshore.
I feel similarly as everyone else. Like every time we play them, we barely win. It's always by 1 goal, and they're keeping up with a lot of higher level teams.
Who is the number who's the player to look out for on Mary Freebed Overdrive?
I think a lot of them, but Kyle Fryer.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's good to know.
Talk to me about Lakeshore. You got them in first.
I did. We talked about them for 10 minutes earlier.
That's crazy, by the way. Lakeshore at number 1.
I don't know that it's that crazy. I've got them in third because I was looking at their results, and I wasn't even looking at y'all's rankings when I did mine. But I'm looking at Lakeshore results, and I'm thinking the same thing. This is a team that I probably didn't give enough credit to before.
Yeah, clearly.
They hung what we talked about them. Nikki's right. We did talk about them. Wins against Brooks, hanging in there with teams like Atlanta Sting, Auburn, beating Shepherd Strikers. I mean, they beat Piranhas. This is a good team. I'm not that surprised. Nikki has them in first. I've got them in third. I think that's where they belong, but I wouldn't be that surprised to see them in a championship game.
They are a major sleeper pick this season for this Nationals.
Good luck, Josh, if you think your team can beat them because you have them ranked below you.
Yeah, I know. So I'm a little scared now. But I put him at 6 purely based on what I saw last season. But now after talking with you and you seeing it firsthand a couple of times, now I'm like, oh, that's fantastic. I'm really happy to hear that they're playing a little bit of different style of soccer now. It's great. They're probably one of the youngest teams in the league, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know. Did you guys have amnesia when we talked about them 10 minutes ago?
No, I know.
I
Did you say the oldest person on their team's 16?
Yeah.
See, I remember stuff.
That's what I'm saying.
Thanks,
You're welcome.
By average, I mean the youngest team by average.
We did talk about this. All right. Colorado Rolling Rapids. Josh and I have them in first. Enoch in second. Nikki in third. They didn't have a lot of results on the website, but what I saw was impressive. A 1-goal loss to LAFC, a tie with Strapped Scorpions, wins against Ability 360 United, Arizona Heat, Phoenix Rising, LA Angels, and another win against Ability 360 United. What do we think about this team?
They could go number 1 or number 2. I wouldn't be surprised to see them anywhere in there.
Yeah.
Honestly. Like I said earlier, they're tough. They play fast. They got great plays. One of their best players, or if not their actual best player, is 13? 14 years old, something like that.
Levi,
yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah,
he was at camp too, and he was good last year, and then he went to camp and he got better. So
yeah, he's a stud.
I'm excited to see them at nationals for sure.
Yeah, and Cameron Boyles, he's the setup man for that squad, and he's got
power.
He's got power and accuracy on his kick-ins. And he's got, based on the our league site, he's got 10 assists to his 3 goals. So clearly he's a setup man, and we saw it at nationals. And so, of course, he's just going to get better and better. So I have very high hopes for this squad this coming nationals.
Well, I think we've been pretty comprehensive in our conversation about President's Conference. We're going to throw up everybody's top 10 here, or I guess in this case, top 12 on the screen real quick, just so everybody can see them.
Yep.
Enoch, thank you so much for joining us again. Appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate your expertise. And for Power Soccer Shop, we're 3 in the box. We will be back next week with our champions and premier conference rankings and counting down to nationals. Can't wait to see y'all.
Can't wait. Oh, see you at nationals, Enoch. Can't wait to see you.
Yeah. My only bummer is I don't get to beat you again.
I know that is a bummer. Well, you'll get to the President's Conference next year.
Oh, we'll be there.
We'll see.
I don't mean to brag, but I'm the most humble man I know. I'm the most humble man I know, and I know everything. Like anybody knows me.
This is a Facade podcast.